Hey y'all, it's Aaliyah here, and I'm gonna make this live just to throw it out there. You could catch up with it later. I know there may not be anybody tuning in now. Hopefully you could catch a replay of it later because I'll have it on my page. But this week has been one of the weeks in the real estate industry that it's just so unfortunate, and it's been a lot of aha moments this week that I've come to realize. Let me start by saying, if you don't know who I am, my name is Aaliyah Wood. I'm a mortgage broker here in Atlanta, Georgia. I have a beauty background industry. So I've been in the beauty business since I was 12 years old in one way, shape, form, or fashion. Whether it's hair, barbering, permanent makeup, like my whole life has been based around customer service. So when I became a mortgage broker, I thought that I would be a consumer-based, customer-driven business. And I did not realize that this is a sales business. And being that it's a sales business, it is turning me off so bad to be a mortgage broker. Because I can't sell a heater to a person in an igloo. I'm not in sales. I've always told, oh, take them out the oven. Take it out the oven. Get the mitt in the cabinet and take it out the oven. Okay. And then push the off button on the right hand side on the top of the stove. Okay. Let me know if you need help and do it slow so you don't spill it. Okay. So I did not know that the mortgage business is a sales business, or I knew real estate agents were in sales, but I didn't know mortgage was in sales. So I want to break down to you what being a mortgage broker entails on our day-to-day basis, because I want to explain a few things so we can all understand. This is for agents, this is for future buyers, this is for anybody. This is just helpful information. So as a mortgage broker, we take your application. We ask that you submit us docs, because what we're doing is we're verifying your information. And in those docs, we're doing an income calculation to see what you can afford comfortably. My word is comfortably. I like to put people where they could comfortably afford something without being too stretched. If you haven't noticed, our economy is like up and down. So you got to make sure that you could afford this mortgage through the thick and the thin, and that keeping a roof over your head is your number one priority. So I want to give you a scenario that happened this week that really was an aha moment, that I am doing the right thing, that I am living in my purpose. I just wish, it's unfortunate that some agents choose not to work with me because I may have the best interest of the buyer at heart. So before I go into this scenario, it's okay, you only need one. Or get the towel that's hanging on the stove and get used to. Okay, so, sorry, my daughter is trying to get the bacon out the oven. I guess I should have got it out before I started this live. So let me break down the difference between a realtor and a lender and what's at stake here. A realtor, when they take you to buy a home, they're done. They get their check, they go, they're done, it's over with. With a lender, with a mortgage loan officer, if we put you in a house and we finance that house and you default on that loan in the first, it's just different time spans. Some companies is 6 months, some companies is 1 year, some companies is 2 years. If you default on that loan within the first 6 months, 1 year to 2 years, the lender's company, my company, the mortgage loan officer's company, will have to buy back that loan, and we'd have to give our commissions. So we really don't get that many commissions compared to a real estate agent. Our commissions are like this compared to this of an agent. So even with our commission, we still have to pay certain things out of that commission, broker fees and all kinds of stuff. So when we as the lender are doing the calculations and the numbers, we're trying to make sure that you could comfortably afford this payment. Because if you default on that payment, we have to give the money back. And our company has to buy it. Now the company is looking at us like, why are you putting people in a home knowing they can't afford it when we have done the financial analysis over them? So I want to give you a scenario this week. And excuse my tone, y'all. I'm from Savannah, Georgia. They say we sound like we're from New Orleans. We're a little geechy. So if I sound a little geechy, please forgive me. But I want to give you a scenario that came to fruition this week. I'm going to give you a backstory. Okay. So I had a client. The client, when I pulled her credit, the client was in the 400 credit score. Of course, she needed credit repair. So whenever I pull somebody and the credit is not up to par, I'm not a credit repair expert. I'll send them to a credit repair person so they could work on the credit. And of course, I'll do a credit analysis. I'll tell you what you need. Like if I review your credit, I'm going to initially send you an email and I'm going to tell you, hey, you need to call this. You need to call this agency, TransUnion, Equifax, blah, blah, blah. Ask them to take this off, dispute this, or either go online and make your own disputes. And then, you know, add self, add kickoff, add these cards to get your score up to par. Now, if it's really bad credit and I just can't do anything with it, it's so much stuff on there, I'm going to send you to credit repair. I'm looking for good credit repair people too. I just talked to somebody this weekend because, to be honest with you, I haven't been satisfied with any credit repair person that I've dealt with. So if you know somebody that's certified, let me know. But that's neither here nor there. So let's start here. So the lady applied. The lady did not have qualifying credit. So we sent her for credit repair. The lady who I sent her for credit repair does it the slow way. The slow way and the sure way. You know, she's making letters. She's sending them out. It takes 3 to 4 months. So 3 to 4 months later, the lady came back. The scores were up to par. Everything was good to go. So we were ready to proceed. So she was pre-qualified, pre-approved for a home loan. I told the agent, give me a couple more days, because on this scenario, what happened was, the lady had like 8 car notes that she had started a business, a Turo business. And the lady had 8 car notes, 8 or 9 car notes. It was a whole fleet of cars. And she had recently just got the cars, like some within the last year, some in the last year and a half. So it was a bunch of car notes to sort through. And if you don't know, we have to go through the bank statements. We have to source the car notes. So you're talking about 60 or 70 car notes that we had to source. So what happened was, I told the agent, before you take her out shopping, let me make sure I source all these car notes, because it's like over 60, like it's really like almost 100 car notes I have to source from each bank account. So I sourced all of them. Everything was good. Keep in mind, this lady is a teacher. She's very educated. She is such a doll, such a sweetheart, very educated. She has a master's degree in education. She's a teacher. And what happened was, she's just not financially savvy, and that's okay. Like some people, when you're in a relationship or in a house, one person handles the finances and the other doesn't, because one may be more financially savvy than the other. It happens all the time. She just is not financially savvy. Obviously she wasn't financially savvy because it was a lot on her credit report that we had to sort through and get through, and credit repair and taking stuff off and, you know, just doing that whole nine. So make a long story short, I asked the agent, take her time taking her out, because I need to source all these payments. Were almost done. The agent took the lady out. They end up coming back with a contract. Okay. So now we're under contract, but I still haven't fully sourced like almost 100 of these car notes. It was 2 missing. It was 2 car notes of the Turo missing. And I was like, hey, where's the car notes? You know, I've been through all these accounts. And so during this process, she's like, oh, you know, it might be in my boyfriend's account. And I'm like, okay, well, and what entail does your boyfriend have in here? And so these are questions that a lender has to ask. Like, if y'all are commingling funds on the business, sometimes we have to ask the boyfriend's bank statements or the boyfriend's accounts. And then it was like that. And then I couldn't find them there. So it was like, okay, well, we've done your account. We've done the business account. We've done your boyfriend's account. Is there another place that it could be? Because she was basically getting a little feisty with me, like, I paid it, you know, and in an aggressive, offensive, like, she was like on defense. Like, I paid it, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm like, if you paid it, just tell me where it's at, because I have to source the payment. If you didn't know, if you have other car notes in accounts, you know, you have to show, in this case, 12 months of payments that were not late, and that were on time, 12 months of on-time payments. So in this case, you know, she became very defensive, and we walk a fine line because we don't want to be offensive to anybody, but at the same time, we have to meet guidelines. So I was like, is there another account? So come to find out, there was a Cash App account that I wasn't privy to, I wasn't aware of. So of course, now we have to source the Cash App account. So the Cash App account, it still showed that payment, that it was 2 cars, 1 month that the payments were missing. All of the others were sourced. And so what happened on here is, you know, we're under contract. We've been under contract for a week. I've been asking her all week, where are these 2 missing car payments on these 8 Turo vehicles? And her getting very defensive. So finally, on Friday afternoon at 5 p.m., literally after everything's closed, I remember on Friday, the lady said, oh, I put those car notes on the back of the loan, because if I didn't, I would have been late. So as a mortgage broker, our job is to make sure that you're financially secure to take on a mortgage. We look at, if you are late on credit cards, if you're late on car notes, you may not be able to swing a mortgage. Now, life happens, so we are able to overlook a lot of late payments on credit cards, on auto, you know, we're able to work with late payments on these accounts. But in some cases where you've just, you know, you have nothing but charge off and collections on there, it shows the bank. Our job is to package you up in a nice package and present you to a bank for a mortgage loan. If you got all this stuff on there, it's hard for us to present you to the bank for a big loan. So in this particular case, she put the car notes on the back end. And if I would have added those 2 cars to her debt to income ratio, she does not qualify for the house that we're under contract for. In this case, which is very unfortunate, we had to terminate the contract. Now, the agent was super upset with me. The agent was so mad with me because we had to terminate the contract. Now, I had warned the agent not to go out there and find our house yet until I sourced these 2 payments out of 100. But, you know, that was on both parties, but she kept telling me the payment was paid. She didn't tell me until after a week under contract, which all the money was secured, her earnest money, everything was safe. But I say all this to say, everybody was mad at me, the lender, right? The agent is mad at me because it fell. She's mad at me. But when I really think about it, it was nothing but God, because this lady needed more work in the financial department because she had nothing but collections and charge-offs on her credit and was just getting things and not paying them. So she, in my mind, we have to use, it's not all about sales with us. We have to use judgment on, is this a good fit to put her in a house for a mortgage? And in this case, it was questionable. And I say all this to say, let me tell you what happened. So this was 2 months ago. This was 2 months ago that this contract terminated. And I was always told from my mentor, first of all, to do business with integrity, to do business honestly, to do business transparent, to tell them the truth and nothing but the truth. If I feel like you can't afford a mortgage, or you may need to wait for a mortgage, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. And I know some people don't want to hear that. It boggles me that lenders people will come to me and say, well, she got turned down by 5 or 6 lenders. If she got turned down by 5 or 6 lenders, then there's something that they're seeing. Yes, I'm talking about this. There's something that they're seeing that's not supposed to be there. Okay? If she's talking to 5 or 6 lenders, it may be a good idea for her to wait. It may be a good idea for her to wait 5 or 6 months and get some things in order, or a year and get some things in order and add some trade lines and get back in the credit paying routine. It may be a good idea to wait. Some people can't wait. So in this case, I use discernment. Well, for one, she don't qualify because once we put the car notes back on there, the debt to income ratio was too high anyway. But also discernment of, is this person going to be financially responsible to pay this mortgage, or is she at risk to default on a mortgage within 6 months, 1 year to 2 years? And in my personal opinion and professional opinion from analysis, she was not a safe candidate. And guess what text I got yesterday? Good morning. Guess what text I got yesterday? She reached out, this 2 months ago. She reached out to the credit repair lady to tell her that she's getting ready to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy. This lady was not in a good financial place, but was so eager and so persistent to get in the house that she was mad with me. The agent was mad with me. Everybody's mad with me because the deal fell through, because there were things that showed she was not going to be financially responsible with this mortgage. And I asked agents for future reference to please communicate with your lender, call your lender, talk to your lender, ask for transparency, because I told the agent, this is a risky one, this is a tricky one, and there's a lot going on with this file, and I don't think it's a stable file and it will make it through. And it's unfortunate because we're in an economy where you have to think about the worst case scenarios. If you lose your job, if you get laid off, do you have an emergency fund? You know, are you going to be able to sustain this mortgage for 1, 2, 3 months if God forbid anything happens while you're looking for another job? Do you have an area of the house that you could rent to offset this mortgage while you're looking for another job? This is an economy where you have to be secure in your finances, that worst case scenario, you could hold it down for 3 to 6 months. And a lot of people are not. And that is nothing against the lady. That is just asking realtors to sometimes trust the lender, because we go by strict guidelines and we have to use personal discernment as well when we're giving these mortgage loans. And it's not to hold anybody back. Let me tell you, the reason I became a mortgage broker is because I had horrible experiences with mortgage lenders. I felt like there's got to be a better way. It wasn't until I met a man, Mr. Jesse, that he restored my faith in mortgage, and I ended up closing with another lender. And they restored my faith in mortgage because they really cared about the person. And I really care about the situation, because I would have put her in a bad situation to get in a home loan that she could not afford, and that she was on the verge of financial ruin, and it would have been a mess. It would have been a mess for her. It would have been a mess for the bank. It would have been a mess for my company, and it would have been a mess for me. So I want to talk about some scenarios. And I want to be able to come on here, and I'm not looking for a content creator check. I'm not even really trying to build business behind this, but I want to be very transparent and honest with you about what goes on behind the scenes, so you know. But sometimes, you know, it's rejection is sometimes protection, and redirection is sometimes protection. And just look at it like a blessing in disguise, because that would have complicated things even more if she would have gotten that home. And sometimes you need to trust the financial professional. And before you talk to an agent, reach out to a lender first. Reach out to a lender, because let me tell you, you reach out to an agent is only going to send you to a lender. They're going to send you to us for us to do the financial analysis. So they're going to send you to us. We're going to set the budget and get you back out shopping. But I think it's better for everybody, no matter where you're at in your financial journey, to talk to a mortgage lender that is going to take the time to break everything down for you, explain things, and tell you what you could afford and what you can't afford. And I just hope that God sees that I was redeemed, because when I tell you, I had everybody mad with me. Everybody was mad with me. And I feel good about the decision that was made, even though I lost the deal. I made $0 on that deal, and I worked 2 months on that deal. So I hope this helps, and contact me for all your mortgage needs if you need any. Thank you. Oh, how do I leave?